Welcome back, fuckers. I'm sorry, family and friends. I can't steal that from my friend Ashley. So it is the night before Halloween. Yes, I've had to dress my children up a gazillion times and then wash their polyester $9 costumes. Wait. That's my son's Pokemon costume. The K-pop demon huntress costumes. Yeah, those are a solid like $80. So we're being real careful with that. Definitely had to take them to another Halloween gathering tonight, and gold jewels were falling off of this costume made in China. That was still $80. She wanted it. Now I will be spending my evening hot glue gunning these fucking little charms because Halloween isn't until tomorrow. And yes, I will be one of those moms who takes down all of the Halloween shit when they go to bed tomorrow night, and we will decorate for fucking Christmas. And yes, I'm wearing my hair in a French braid. That's definitely been massacred because we did some pumpkin carving at this event and because this is what Rumi was wearing. And yes, about 30 children were also dressed as Rumi. Clearly, I chose the wrong costume because they didn't have shit falling off their costumes. But anyways, I'm Dr. Leslie, forensic psychologist and mother, and somebody who is questioning how we are manipulated every single day because I've worked with psychopaths and I know how the government manipulates all of us every single day, including the news. So let's talk about what happened on October 30th. Still, the government is shut down, but it was made very clear that if SNAP benefits, if we don't get food by this weekend, it's all a fucking lie because our taxes already paid for years of that service. And so where is that money going? I'm very happy that people are speaking out against President Trump and the administration because, yes, they are fucking lying about things. I think every administration is lying about things, but to make a point and not feed people, no, it's gone too far. Trump's numbers are dropping rapidly, and I don't know about his mental state, and I question what the fuck is going on. Lawsuits are going at Mike Johnson, who just looks like a bobblehead. He kind of looks like a teenager who's never been laid. All of these people that are representing our American government are fucking embarrassments right now, and I could do a better job not even knowing what the Senate actually means. I don't even know a fucking law. I really know quite literally very little about the Constitution. I wasn't even born in this country, but I would happily take over and do a better job than these narcissistic assholes who seem to be running things just to be a part of the billionaire club, and they don't think that it's ever going to end. Caroline Levitt, you're 27 years old. This is your life? Okay, so let's talk in 3 years. I'd like to see where you are. Maybe you're working at Walmart. I don't even know if they'd have you because you have so much attitude and you couldn't get along with the team. So if we were to sum up the day, it basically seems like, I don't know, everybody was just choking on their words, choking on the truth. And once again, we are left to clean up the fucking mess. I don't know what is going on with Candace Owens. I don't know if this is postpartum or she's having an unhealthy grieving process to somebody she didn't actually know, Charlie Kirk, but she's definitely using it for clickbait and millions of people are following along. If you look at her content, you'll see that there are actually contradictions and she's not actually telling the truth. And she is giving you these tidbits of information. You're making emotional meaning out of them while she's telling you to, and you're doing it because you're gullible and you want to be a part of a party and you want to believe her. But really, she's just spewing a bunch of bullshit. There's a YouTube account called Too Lazy to Try, and he actually tracks her and calls her out. So I highly suggest you look into that. And I'm just going to say this. The Candace Owens the Candace Owens she wants you to see. Each episode you follow along, but you're not tracking prior episodes and you're not tracking her prior history. You're not tracking her book club information. You're not tracking what her actual friends or faux friends say about her. So just so you know, even though it seems like she's producing evidence about Charlie Kirk's murder, She's not. She's producing a bunch of bullshit and manipulating you. Now, the real thing that happened today was that Erica Kirk did hug JD Vance in a grossly inappropriate way. And it was so fucking awkward. I would cut a bitch if they did that to my husband. They embraced, and she took her right hand and ran it through the back of his head into his hair. That is intimacy that I don't even have with my husband when we have sex sometimes. That was weird. She was also wearing pleather. Pleather. Of course, not leather, because she's so religious, right? She was wearing very tight pleather to show off her curves, and she has great curves, not ones that I would prefer. She's curvy. Really doesn't look like a widow that was really mourning her husband. Now, Candace Owens knows this, and she's going to play into this, and then she's going to open those pockets of delusions. Now, that's something we do as psychologists. When we work with somebody who has a delusional disorder, we look for any kind of pocket that we could possibly open and bring in a little bit of reality. But what Candace Owens is doing is she's doing it in reverse. She's finding a pocket that you could possibly question, and she's filling it with doubt. And then she's filling it with an answer that doesn't make any fucking sense if you actually stand back and look. And yes, if you take a moment to look at the TikTok accounts, to look at the Instagram accounts, to look at the statements of the individuals that she's actually talking about, she's talking about real people. She's making fun of race. She's talking about people who have hidden agendas because of the color of the skin or the country that they are from. And she's contradicting herself. And this is leading to hate campaigns, smear campaigns, death threats against the individuals who are actually present when Charlie Kirk was shot in the most horrific way, in a horrific situation. And she is now making people who are utterly traumatized by this event and who would have done anything to prevent it, and who also tried to save his life and get him into the car. She's twisting words and she's ruining their lives because it's clickbait, and she doesn't fucking care. And people are following it. They are falling for it. Hook, line, and sinker. She is getting more views than most media outlets because people, what? They want conspiracy and they want drama. Now you just wait. The minute attention starts going away or veering away from Candace Owens, you just wait. See what she jumps onto next. Don't forget that she spent several months on the Baldoni wagon getting flowers from Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman. Yeah, the same lawyer who's being sued right now for unethical conduct. You know how Trump wanted to stop student loan repayment? I actually got a notice today that from the Department of Education, I met my student loan repayment of 120 months. And yes, I met it a long time ago. I met it way before Trump, but the program was so fucked up, nothing happened. So I'm crossing my fingers that it continues and it moves forward, and my student loans are actually forgiven because I have devoted 12 years of my life and my career to working for the government or working for the government in some consultative way for 3-letter agencies. But either way, it counts. I wouldn't have done that if I didn't have an ulterior motive of having my student loans reduced. That was a big part of it. Not reduced, erased. Celebrity news? I don't know. Chris Evans apparently had a baby. I'm sure it's fucking adorable. Congrats to them. Don't forget to get a night nurse because that sleep deprivation really fucks with your mind for at least the first 4 months as you're draining fluids and hormones from your body. But congratulations. I believe Kelsey Grammer, who is 70, had his 8th child. Interesting. I was following the trial of I think it was the first grade teacher and a first grade student. A 6-year-old brought a gun to class and shot her. And she's suing for $40 million. I think the jury is still out. Maybe we'll hear tomorrow. I'm thinking we are going to hear tomorrow. The vice principal knew the kid had the gun. The kid had a history. Kid had a history of strangulation. Now, if you're following me on social media, I just posted a video that if you are in a domestic violence or an intimate partner violence relationship and strangulation is a part of that, you are 7 times more likely to be unalived, because strangulation is a precursor to that, because the men who do it love power and dominance and the threat, the stimulation of possibly taking someone's life. Wait, I'm talking about a 6-year-old who strangled his teacher and then a year later brought a gun to school. The principal knew about it. The vice principal knew about it and did nothing. And then he shot his teacher, who a couple days before, I'm not sure, had reprimanded him because he had smashed her iPhone. Yes, boys and girls, I'll be posting videos about this, but you can identify traits of psychopathy as early as the age of 3. I would look at ages 3, 4, and 5 as the guiding factor for components of psychopathy, conduct disorder, oppositional defiant disorder that eventually turns into antisocial personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder. Now, if you see those 2 diagnoses and you're working anywhere, like in a prison or you have someone in a prison, if you see antisocial and you see narcissistic, they're telling you that's psychopathic. That person needs a PCLR, they need a psychopathy checklist, and they need to be determined to be a psychopath at what level and how fucking likely they are to commit violence, at what degree, what is their recidivism rate. That case really kills me though, because when that teacher took the stand today, it seemed like she was dissociating when she was trying to remember the day that it happened. I mean, she was gone. The attorneys, even cross-examination, they were handling her with kid gloves. She wasn't present. She had moments of like severe blankness and probably very severe PTSD. I can't even fucking imagine. We also have another rapist on trial right now, and I'm not sure what's going to happen with that case. They're not naming the victim, but he was posting about how he really wanted to rape someone and he really wanted to do it. So he went out of state to do it. And then he did it to somebody in a hotel who was sleeping, who now is pressing charges against him. Isn't that interesting that he was posting on social media about all his fantasies and everything he wanted to do, and then he went ahead and did it? I don't care if someone is posting something about their fantasies and something negative. I don't care if they're not acting on it right away. Don't become fatigued. Don't assume they will never do it. It's an unfortunate quality of life, but when somebody says things like that, yes, for the remainder of your life and their life, you have to be on alert. You have to be aware because something will trigger the action. And every single violent offense I've ever seen in my 20-year career has been predictable once we look back and we look at the patterns of behavior. Trump continues to be hated by people and is more hated by Republicans lately. He is just dropping in his likeness. He's doing things very secretly. He's excluding Democrats. I just think this is all getting so fucking bizarre. I feel like a bobblehead. We need people, even people we don't think should be in government as presidents, like Newsom, like Kamala. Yeah, I don't think they're the right fit, but my fucking God, I would take them over Trump right now. It really reminds me of when I was working in government systems, and I never really understood the people that were promoted, who were in the administrative level, the people that were making the choices. I always thought, why were they promoted? Because they suck. They suck so much. Like they stick to policy and they're all just fucking assholes and they don't care about anybody else. And then I realized, oh, they're promoted because they have no bedside manner and they will ruin lives and not care. They will stick to policy. They will save money for the institution. They will be cutthroat and they will not have the insight that they are used as objects for these smart people. And once again, this is happening not in a hospital or a government institution that I've worked in. This is happening in the White House right now. I mean, I think we've literally been shut down for 30 fucking days. These are grown ass adults. If they didn't have other agendas or a desire for money, wouldn't they be having a fucking conversation? I sit and talk to psychopaths all the time. You decapitated someone? Cool, let's talk it through. How can you not talk about fucking food stamps? I talked to someone once who had brain matter in his pocket, and we got through an hour of what I thought was a really good therapy session, but apparently I was just his alibi. But still, we had a conversation for an hour Mike Johnson is just sending people home because he doesn't want to vote in somebody who's on the Democratic side who is going to release the Epstein files, which I'm sorry, Mike, they're eventually going to come out. And why do you care so much? You're not in them. Trump is. I believe the testimony I literally heard from Katie Johnson. I believe Virginia Giuffre's book. I believe her family. I believe the survivors who wrote a letter to you, Mike Johnson, today saying, you better swear her in and release the files. You better fucking do it. Everyone knows who needs to fall. They're just terrified of litigation. They're terrified of being sued for billions. But the great thing is that they're smarter than the people who are actually in the White House in this administration, and they are going to find a way for the information to come out. So wouldn't you want to do it first? Wouldn't you want to be the one who's in control of it? I know. Again, when you're playing checkers, it's really hard to play against somebody who's really good at chess. No one in the White House knows how to play chess. Oh, there's all this shit about Aaron Parnas and how he was paid at some point $24,000, which is nothing in this realm, to share some talking points that were Democratic. And what I don't understand is, what's the problem with that? People are selling you shit left and right. Influencers are selling you makeup products left and right, skincare products. Oh, but this is politics. This affects lives. Well, so does medication. So does RFK Jr. talking out of his ass, talking about research articles that he has no idea how to actually read because he is incoherent in the way that he is addressing them. Our president thinks he took an IQ test when he took a dementia test. I am sorry, but yes, if somebody wants to pay me to talk about talking points that I align with and I think that they're right, I'm going to take the money and continue to talk about them because I would talk about them anyways. It's called endorsement. It's not extortion. It's not blackmail. It's not anything negative. And anyone with a large following is doing that. The problem is when they do that and it doesn't align with actual beliefs. And that's where Candace Owens is a huge fucking problem to me. And maybe Joe Rogan. I actually haven't heard anything about what's happening in the world, but driving to school, I did tell my 8-year-old what Hamas was and how Israel precisely did attack, but there was no peace in the Middle East, even though our president said there was without anyone being present because it's just political theater. She was very interested in what a tomahawk was, and I had to explain that to her through ChatGPT. Thank you for that. She was really interested in it, and she just didn't even understand the concept of war. And I said it, explained it to her in very 8-year-old language, but she was like, wow, that's really interesting. So there's other countries besides America? Yeah, honey, there are. But, unfortunately, our news doesn't really talk about other countries because we're just a very fucking narcissistic country. Some of the best times in my life were when I was outside of America, traveling to places like China, to Lithuania, all over Europe. Not being in America. I think maybe I should move to Scandinavia. I'm not going to move to Australia because the sexual offense laws and consequences are horrendous, and they appear to even be pulling back from the minimal laws that they have right now. And that I find more offensive than the giant-sized spiders that they have in that country. I feel it's like heebie-jeebies. There's literally I got Starbucks like 4 days ago and I saw a spider in my office and I put my like fresh hot latte cup on the spider. It's still there and I'm not picking it up. And I may pay someone to just come pick it up in case the spider runs out and goes up my leg or goes somewhere. I can't control it. It's been 4 days. Yeah. It's still sitting there. Yeah, I don't care. So Australia, with the sex offenses and the spiders, you can go fuck yourself. You need to clean your act up. We've seen France clean their act up significantly with the Pellico trial and how one of the fucking rapists tried to say that he didn't do it. And then the judge came back and said, yeah, you did. And here's 10 more years on your sentence. That Judge, can I take you out for a drink with we will wear Ray-Ban Meta translators. I will understand what you are saying, you will hear me, and we will have a wonderful time because you are an honorable judge, one that we do not see every day, especially in this fucking country, especially in places like Oklahoma, where we have a 17, 18-year-old strangling girls and then not getting any jail time. I love that social media uproar actually led the state to not necessarily reopen the case, but they are reviewing the case. And that is something because that judge was bought and that psychopathic child adult who harmed those little girls and he also sexually abused them. He's not going to stop and he's going to continue and he's going to end lives and he should not be free. So once again, I encourage you to think about how were you manipulated today because I'm sure you were manipulated in many ways and also think about the people who really fucking matter to you and keep boundaries with people who are toxic and draining from you. And as we move into Halloween, if you think spooky things happen on Halloween, just be extra cautious. Or you could actually just have a little fun because we're going to go trick or treating. We are going, but my 8-year-old even said, Mom, you don't want us to talk to strangers, but you want us to go up to strangers' houses and just ask them for candy. It's a very good point, honey. Okay, so now we're only going to go to houses of people we know. I don't want to backtrack on everything I've taught her, and God knows I've taught her a lot. Continue being a rock star, continue being strong, and please continue doing things that help our world, help our country, because right now it is a fucking mess, and our president is the cause of that. And we can change that if we work together. And I'm not saying together as everyone be a Democrat or everyone being a Republican. I'm saying everyone just be anti Trump because he's not what you thought. He's lied about many things. And I do believe he is a very dangerous man. I don't want to spend years recovering from him. I want to find ways to stop him. If you have any ideas, let me know because I will be meeting with numerous people in politics over the next week to start joining forces and helping my rational, grounded view that is not manipulated by money or propaganda lend a hand to figuring out what the fuck we can do. Happy Halloween Eve. Catch you later.